This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, good evening, everyone. We're going to start quickly. I'm just going to do a quick introduction. Again, I'm Mayor Chris Ewan for the Arm of Rich Hott. We're doing everything via online virtual meetings. We have Councillor Curtis Clayton with us tonight.
Hello, thanks for joining us.
We have Councillor Ron Mamchuk.
Good evening, everyone.
We have Councillor Shane Pelletier.
Hey, everyone.
In absence, we have Councillor Janine Boulanger due to unforeseen events. So we'll move on to administration. We have CEO Mitch Duval. Pardon me.
Evening, everybody.
And off camera, we have Assistant CEO Dominic Lemoine.
Hi, everyone.
So tonight we'll be voting via our online system. We won't be raising any hands. We'll be casting our vote online, and then the CEO will be reading it out loud. I will get the show on the road. I'll call the meeting to order. Do I have a mover?
Ron Mamchuk, Councillor Mamchuk, I mean.
Thank you. Second.
Councillor Clayton.
Thank you very much. Again, I call the meeting to order just to let council know Councillor Boulanger won't be with us this evening due to unforeseen events. So it will be a four council table. Please cast your vote. I'll call for the question.
The vote is carried 4-0.
Thank you very much. Moving on. Sorry, that's 5:37 p.m. Council was called to order. Meeting was called to order. Moving on to adoption of the agenda. Do I have a mover?
Ron Mamchuk.
Thank you. Second.
Councillor Pelletier.
Thank you. Just before we call for the vote, I just wanted to see if council was okay going straight to the public hearings and then continuing on with regular business. If you're all in favor, then I will call for the question with the slight change. Council's good with that?
Yes.
Fine with me. Fine with me.
Okay, I'll call for the question. Cast your vote.
The vote is carried 4-0.
Thank you. Mr. CEO, we can wait to adopt the minutes of last meeting until after the public hearing, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, moving on to public hearings. Give me 1 second to get my bearings. 6.1.1 C16-2020 Robin and Pauline Gruet at 1261 Marchand Road to allow a single family dwelling in an AL zone.
Under the Planning Act, notification was sent out to surrounding properties within 100 meters. It was also sent to the McDonald Rich Hott Planning District, Rich Hott Public Manager, Public Works Manager, Building Inspector, all of council, Fire Chief, and the applicant Pauline Gruet, as well as posted on site, posted on the municipal board and municipal website, and sent on the Connect system in the Howden area.
Thank you very much. I'll open the, sorry, my phone just froze here. My laptop. I'll open the public hearing at 5:39 p.m. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor that is online? Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor at council? There's no one in the room with me here. I will ask the CEO, is there anyone, any letters received in favor?
Nothing received in favor.
Okay. Is there anyone wishing to speak against?
Sorry, did I miss my opportunity?
Yeah, but you know what, Pauline, what we'll do is I'll just ask if there's anyone wishing to speak against, and then I'll go back and then I'll call your name.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone wishing to speak against online? Anyone wishing to speak against? No one's in the room, so I'm not even gonna ask. Is there anyone any letters received against?
Nothing received against?
Okay, so I'll just do a last call, and I know Pauline wanted to speak, so go ahead, Pauline.
Thank you. Honorable Mayor Ewan and Council. So on behalf of my husband Robin and myself, we are writing in response to the resolution number 20209 acquired via email June 20th, 2020 in support of our current application for conditional use number C16-2020. The first application seems to have been confused with a neighboring property with which we have no purpose or relationship with. Our property is located at 1261 Marshand Road, and the confusion may have been in regards to property known as 1267 Marshand Road, which is immediately east of us. During this public hearing, which took place on July 15th at 5:30, we provided the following documentation to support our case: the geotechnical review, the email to show that the Water Resources Manitoba had approved and finalized their finding, and we now have received the stage 1 permit, which I have forwarded. And we also provided the purchase documents of 1261 Marshand Road, showing that the property is part of 3 parcels of land, which had been developed in particular for 3 residential purposes. See page 2, item 2. The other 2 properties have been developed, and we are the last to reside on this parcel. Title number J77664, Lot 2, Block 1, Plan 1458, WLTO. To support our current application, C16-2020, we have the following documentation: the soil sample results, including the accepted permit for the septic field. We were able to acquire the flood insurance, the overland flood protection, and the stage 1 permit from Water Resources, as I stated, and the stage 1 permit from Water Resources Manitoba for Red River Valley designated flood area, and the septic field permit stage 1. All documents were resubmitted from the first public hearing for clarification of the second. We would like the council to be informed that currently the neighbor to the north has a caveat whereby his driveway is halfway on our property. As well, we share an access road off of Marshand with the neighbors to the north and to the west. These are both residential properties operating in the RM of Richot, in which we are parcel of this land. We simply request the same benefits to develop as the other 2 properties have. It is in the council's best interest to allow the conditional use for property, since there is already garbage pickup, road infrastructure is developed, and has been in use for many years. The increase in municipal taxes would also benefit the area. Furthermore, we have both been privileged to be part of the 1997 flood, since we grew up in respective St. Adolphe and St. Agathe areas. We are both fully aware and understand the responsibilities and complexities that may arise with the property. We do take all situations in regards to our safety and that of our pets or any other animals very seriously. This is our private property, and we would not expect the RM of Richot to be responsible in any situation where we have been negligent. Worst case scenario, we do have a vote to vacate the property. We are fully aware and accept the fact that there will be inspections, and you can expect our full cooperation in this respect. We understand the stance that Mayor Ewan has stood for in regards to limiting residential development in flood zone district. Mother Nature can be very unforgiving to the inexperienced person. This is not the case here. Residential and commercial development has been ongoing for years throughout the municipality, regardless of this agenda. Providing that we are meeting provincial and municipal guidelines, such as the conditional use application, we should be able to create our little piece of heaven just as everyone else has. We are also aware of the dispute over the public lane directly south of us. We would like it to be known that this does not affect our property in any shape or form, and we have a neutral stance in regards to the opposing views. Please do not confuse this issue with our application. We appreciate your time and consideration with our application of conditional use, C16-2020, for the property located at 1261 Marsh End Road. Thank you.
Thank you, Pauline. I appreciate that. I do appreciate all the work you put into your reports, finding the insurance, the letter you sent, and I respect people that do their homework. So thank you very much for that. And I know council appreciates all of that as well. Does council have any questions for? Is it Mrs. Gruette?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I just see Simonson on the.
Yeah, name change. Sorry.
Okay. Mr. CEO, you had a question?
Mrs. Gruette, if possible, I believe that was a well-worded script, and my shorthand is not what it used to be. So if you could please provide me a copy of that and send it to my email address, I would greatly appreciate that.
Mr.
You know
CEO,
what? It has been forwarded.
it's on our list of information.
Thank you very much.
That's okay.
And this is why I actually read it, is just in case you know, you didn't have time to read or anything.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Thank you. Does anyone else from council have any questions?
Pauline, how long have you guys owned the property?
Since July 3rd of this year, but we have been monitoring the property for probably 2.5 years.
Okay, thank you.
And like I said, we both grew up in St. Agatha and St. Adolphe areas, so are very well versed in flood situations.
Anyone else from council?
I'm just reading here about how the property was, it was subdivided into 3 parcels. I guess that's the.
Yes. Yes, it was.
Do we
What
know how long ago it
happened?
was subdivided? Sorry, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. I'm sorry, could you repeat your question?
No, I guess, yeah, maybe, I'm not sure if this is for the CAO or but I'm just curious how long ago the property was subdivided into 3 parcels.
It was subdivided. If you look at the original documents of the purchase documents, this is going back probably 12 or 13 years from the person that we bought the land from, but the property was actually divided. I think it was in the 80s or something, if I remember correctly. I didn't bring the purchase documents with me, but it was divided at that time, and the people who lived to the north of us, it was actually his dad who divided it with the owner there. And
So
sorry?
No, that's okay. I'm listening.
And so just so you know, to all of, like, building up the mound on the property, the hill, is all of the soil that is from the pond that's on the existing property. So there has been no imported soil.
Okay. So this was most likely subdivided before 1997?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Okay.
The dates are 87 and 88 on the documents there, Curtis. Just looking at that.
Yeah,
now.
which PDF is that?
That is the driveway agreement.
Oh,
And
number
there's
1.
also
Okay.
the purchase documents.
Yeah, and the land survey is from 87 as well.
Okay, anything else for Mrs. Gruette? Pardon me. No, okay, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate that. I will ask one last time if there's anyone to speak in favor or against, or any comments or question before I close the public hearing. Last call. Okay, I will close the public hearing at 5:50 p.m. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Mamchuk?
Thank you. Second?
Councillor Pilche?
Thank you very much.
Okay. The resolution would read, therefore be resolved that conditional use application C16-2020 is approved with the following conditions. That the applicant obtains a building permit from the Arm of Richot office. Submitted plans are to include detailed architectural drawings stamped by an engineer. Applicant is to apply for and obtain a flood elevation permit and septic field permit from the province. That the applicant is responsible for all associated costs with connecting to the municipal water system. Applicant will not hold the RM responsible for any consequence of flooding, and the applicant shall provide a signed confirmation letter accepting the terms of this order. There may be site audits conducted to ensure compliance, and any non-compliance may be caused to revoke the conditional use at this time. Prior to council's debate, I would like also to add that we received a structural report, and council has a copy of that was added on just recently today regarding that. So take time to take a look at that. Basically, it states that the house that they are proposing to move onto the property is of good sound structure.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. Okay, I'll open up for discussion to council. Is there anyone from council that would like to add comment or ask questions or debate?
Again, I'd just like to state that this isn't new development. I think as council, we should restrict building in the flood zone on anything new. This is a lot that's been ready to go for a number of years, and the mound's been there for quite some time. They've done all their homework on this. I'd hate to see us say no to somebody investing in our community here.
Yeah, Councillor Pelletier, I totally understand. I'm very torn with this situation. Again, I know we have houses there, but then again, when we speak to the residents around the area and looking at, what's happened in the past, that unfortunately is still the lowest point in Richot, or one of the lowest points anyway. And now my other concern is we see it's at the 1 in 100 year levels that it should be, but now we're getting provincial improvements and updates that we need to start looking at the 1 in 200 year flood levels around dikes and stuff. So, there's always going to be, or needed to be, improvement, expansion, soil addition, just to maintain the guidelines and rules to make sure that our residents are safe. So I'm just my mandate, it was always to just not restrict, but really consider if it's the right thing to add to the flood zone. And with this very low point in Richot, I just can't comfortably do that, or not do that. So that's where I stand. I struggle with it because everything is there. The applicants have given a lot of thought and work into it with their geotechnical, any soil samples they've done, all of that. I really appreciate that. I respect the letter they've given, but in good conscience, I cannot see adding to a flood zone, because I think it would put, at the end of the day, residents at risk, the taxpayers' dollars working a little harder when it comes to flood evacuation, etc. If we don't meet that DFA threshold is another reason, then the burden is on us as the taxpayers and the residents. So it's a very tough situation.
This is Councillor Mamchuk speaking. I can see if there was only the first house coming in that area, but it's another home going to be added, and the other residents are going to be faced with the same issue. So I don't think another home is going to make a heck of a difference. And the applicant did their homework, they did their diligence, did a super job. And I even went further and checked a couple of things, and everything seems to be what's stated on their application is correct. And I have to thank them for that.
Thank you, Councillor Mamchuk. I just want to add, just for the clarity and sound of council and the applicants or residents that are listening, that, yeah, we're looking at two different applications, as Mrs. Gruet did say that we may have had some confusion. Just so everyone knows, there's no confusion. We know that it's two separate situations and applications, and all of council's aware of that too. So don't feel like everything's been lumped into one decision. But going back to the topic, does anyone else from council have anything to add?
Well, what makes this difficult for me is that we denied the application for the adjacent property, and now we have Mr. and Mrs. Gruet coming to us with basically a similar application, and certainly you don't want to yank anyone's dream away, but it's also tough to sort of have a policy where we take a hard line on trying to keep development away from a flood zone, and then say no to one, and then reconsider a second one. And to me, I mean, certainly we saw opposition for the last application, but and we don't see any with this one, but I don't know, it's awfully difficult for me.
Any final thoughts or comments from council?
Just in speaking to Councillor Clayton's comments, for me, this one's done their homework. The neighboring property, if they had done just as much homework, I would be a yes to as well. The detail on all the paperwork they've submitted on this one is phenomenal. And I've got no concerns. There really is no burden on the RM for this. It's built to flood height. It's no different than we're allowing 1,400 homes going in St. Adolphe because the dike's big enough. It really is the same thing.
My understanding of Councillor Pelletier is they're looking at adding to that dike to a 1 in 200 year now. So that's where my concern comes from, is there's always going to have to be upgrade, maintenance, insurance tests, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I understand 100% your side, and I get it. That's just my concern, is what happens later? What happens later? Did we do the right thing by allowing this when there was no conformity or follow through, when we needed to do more, or we're mandated to do more, guidelines change, things like that. So
Guidelines change all the time. We change our guidelines for new houses or new streets getting built. We went from gravel to paved. And we're never going to be up to date on everything that we have in our inventory.
yeah.
That's just progression of life. If they're built to 1 to 100,
This is Councillor
That's-
Manchik. I'm sorry,
that's
go
a
ahead.
current standard. That's good.
I lived in St. Adolphe for 43 years, and they lifted up the dike twice in the last 43 years, and I think they're going to be raising it again. So there is changes. So like I said, it's part of life, and life moves on. We have no control over nature, I guess.
No, I understand. We can debate this all night. I guess I keep broken record. History repeats itself, and I don't want to be the one to cause that broken record, I guess, that cycle. So that's just where I stand. Any other comments from council before I call for the vote?
When voting, please ensure that you're voting on the proper line. It is item 611.
Okay, thank you very much. 611. Okay, I will call for the question. Council, please cast your vote.
Give me a minute. My internet is slow today.
Yeah, you're really lagging there on your screen.
I'll have to do it verbally.
The vote is carried 3-1.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Moving on to 6.1.2, C17 2020 Vic Neufeld, 1031 Tencha Road to allow a home industry, home-based business, and bed and breakfast.
Your worship, I would like that this file as well as V10-2020 be heard at the same time for the same public meeting. It's regarding the same property, so everything should be dealt together.
Yes, I apologize. I remember that discussion. Okay, then I'd like to do C17 2020 and V10 2020 together. Go ahead, Mr. Seal.
Okay, so for C17 2020, it's to allow in a rural residential zone, a home industry, the operation of a flower farm, which is seasonal, a home-based business, accounting office in the home, and a bed and breakfast occasional use. The variation is regarding to maximum site coverage of accessory building and structures from 2,400 square feet to 5,500 square feet, to allow a maximum height of an accessory building from 17 feet to plus or minus 27 feet, as well as maximum space used for the home industry greater than 1,000 square feet. So for both applications, they both fall under the Planning Act. Notices were given to 100 meters of the said property, as well as sent out to the MRPD, the Reach Out Public Works Manager, building inspector, council, fire chief. It was posted on site, on the municipal board, the municipal website, and sent out through Connect to the Howden area.
Thank you very much. I will open the public hearing at 6:02 p.m. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor?
Will we have an opportunity later?
Vic, this is Victor. Victor, if you want to go right now, you're more than welcome to, or you can wait till I ask if there's anyone else wishing to speak in favor or against. It's your choice.
Well, let's go through that process and then I'll speak. Okay,
Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone wishing to speak in favor? No one is here with me. Is there anyone else online? Anything received in favor?
Yes, there is an email that I believe council has a copy also. I'll read it out loud quickly from Don and Sylvie Rupp at 1053 Tencha Road. Would like to support Terry and Vic Neufeld on the application of the zoning proposals. They are absolutely the best neighbors one could ask for. All proposal is submitted on our behalf.
Excellent. Is there anyone wishing to speak against? No one is here with me. Anything received against?
Nothing received against.
Okay, I will do a last call. I know, Victor, you said you may want to speak after. You're free to, and if you don't, that's okay too.
Okay, well, thank you, Honorable Mayor and councilors here. We put together a letter, a 5-page letter dated July 31st that outlined what we're planning to do. We also have been longtime residents here since we also went through the flood in '97, and we love the area. And so it's always been my wife's dream to have the flower farm. So we've been doing that for the last couple of years, and then now wanting to take it to a little bit of another level and adding this space above our one garage for occasional use for that, and also add for family gathering space. And then I'd like a little, so we're actually changing the footprint only by less than 500 square feet. It sounds like we're doing a major change. I know when I spoke to the neighbors, they said, what's going on here? And as I understand it, we're just sort of caught, and you're catching up with the changes in the bylaws, and our pool and deck counts as a lot of square footage. So anyways, we're actually adding less than 500 square feet to the footprint for a workshop, a wood workshop, but we're going up, adding a 1-story to the 1/2 of our garage, and we want the whole garage to look like a barn, in keeping with the farm nature that we're trying to see on the yard here. And but we're not talking heavy commercial, heavy use here. You know, it's as outlined in the letter there. Farm tours in July, and then bouquet making workshops in August, and then servicing our community with the flowers and the honey that we produce here on the yard. And then I've always, since I moved here, back then you didn't need to apply for anything, but I've had an accounting business here since, you know, the mid-90s, and I serve many residents in the municipality and the surrounding area. And so I think everything is in keeping with what I think Richshot is all about, country services, etc. And I think it would just, and if you've been to our yard, you'll see, I think we've improved it incredibly. So I think it'll just add to the municipality. And we're bringing a whole lot of people in from the city and others to see the place. So I think it's all good that way. But if you have any questions about anything, we'd be glad to answer.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Before I open it for council to ask any questions or comments, I just want to say that the Southeast Commerce Group, they did a video with you guys, and I watched it the other day. I think Councillor Mamchuk watched it as well at the same time, and it was quite an amazing little piece of business you have there. So congratulations, and I hope you guys enjoy growing some flowers and showing it off.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I second the motion there, Chris. I agree with you. It was a nice video. It was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Council, do you have any comments or questions you'd like to ask the applicants? Nope,
None
seeing none.
I like the idea though.
Thank you very much, you guys. I appreciate that. I'll move on now. I'll do one final call. If there's anyone else wishing to speak, comments in favor, against, general questions. Okay, seeing none, I'll close the hearing at 6:07 p.m. Do I have a mover?
Ron Mamchuk.
Thank you. Second.
Councillor Pelletier.
Councillor Clayton.
Councillor Pelletier takes it for the win.
Okay, again, you will be voting on item number 6.1.2. Therefore be resolved that conditional use application C17-2020 is approved subject to the following conditions. Number 1, for the home industry use, applicant shall comply to section 5.2 of the zoning bylaw 9-2019. 2, for the home-based business use, the applicant shall comply with section 5.3 of the zoning bylaw 9-2019. 3, for the bed and breakfast use, the applicant shall comply with section 5.4 of the zoning bylaw 9-2019. 4, and this is something that council may want to remove in the conditions, parking shall be provided as required by the above 3 sections of the zoning bylaw 9-2019. No parking shall be allowed on Tencha Road. I've personally visited that site when they had the flower tour, and they were parking on Tencha, and because of the configuration of their ring dike and their yard, I think it's almost impossible to park the vehicles within and not be on Tencha. Tencha is not that high traffic volume, so that would be up to council for debate, okay? 5, that there shall be no storage of hazardous liquids, materials, or substances. 6, if yard lighting is to be used, the applicant shall ensure that the lighting levels do not cause any disruption or nuisance to the neighboring area or affected roadways. 7, the uses shall be incidental to or secondary to the principal use of the dwelling unit. 8, the applicant shall comply with the municipal noise bylaw 14-2003. 9, that the applicant must apply for and obtain a building permit for the required renovations from the municipal office. 10, submitted plans are to include detailed architectural drawings and be stamped by the engineer. 11, maximum space to be used for the home industry must not exceed 1,000 square feet as varied. 12, that the maximum space to be used for the home-based business accounting office must not exceed 20% of the total floor area of the primary dwelling or 300 square feet, whichever is less. 13, that the maximum number of bed and breakfast units must not exceed 3 units. And 14, that the applicant must provide a signed confirmation letter accepting the terms of this order. There may be site audits conducted to ensure compliance, and any non-compliance issues may be caused to revoke the conditional use at any time.
Thank you very much. I will open up for debate with council. Council, just first off, do you want to talk about parking here? We've talked about this before in other business developments. I think Tencha is a little bit of a different situation. It's a bit of a more quiet neighborhood than a business development or the industrial zone. So I'm quite okay with people parking on that road, and I think it's going to be a limited time that they're parked there for.
So are we going to get this removed then?
I would say we could remove it if council's okay with that.
No, that's fine with me.
Councillor Pelletier,
Yeah, I'd be good with that.
Councillor Clayton.
Yeah, I have no issues with that.
Okay, so Mr. CEO, if you could remove that, that'd be great. And then I'll open it up for general debate or discussion on everything else. Nothing? Quiet?
I like this project, and if there's no opposition from the adjacent neighbors, I think that's excellent.
No, I appreciate that. Okay, then I will call for the vote. Please cast your vote.
The vote is carried 4-0.
Thank you. We'll be moving on to 6.2.1, correct, Mr. CEO?
Correct. Unfortunately, we do have to vote independently on the conditional use and the variation.
Yes. So do I need to open that one up now?
Just for debate, you'll need a mover and seconder.
Okay, do I have a mover?
Councillor Mamchuk?
Councillor Clayton.
Thank you. Councillor Clayton seconds it. Mr. CEO, do you need to read anything above and beyond what you've already read?
Therefore be resolved, variation application V10 2020 be approved subject to the following conditions. The applicant must obtain a building permit from the Arm and Resort office for the proposed alterations, additions to the existing accessory building. Submitted plans are to include detailed architectural drawings from the engineer, and variation 10 2020 must be approved in order to obtain the approval for the building permit. Pretty self-explanatory.
Thank you. Okay, I'll open up for discussion. Council, do you have anything to add?
Not from here.
Not here.
No.
Okay, I will call for the vote.
The vote is carried 4-0.
Thank you very much. Was that it for public hearings? Yes, correct?
Correct.
Okay, we will.
Thank you all. Thank you all. Sorry, we'll say goodbye. Thank you again.
Thank you very much. Have a good one. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good night.
We will move on to adoption of the minutes. That's back to 3. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Mamchuk?
Councillor Clayton.
Thank you very much. Second by Councillor Clayton.
Flicking my light away, folks. Okay, the last meeting minutes was on July 15th, whereby we dealt with 3 conditional uses at that meeting. Also, we talked about the fiber optic loan to John Q. Public. Bylaw was passed. We also discussed a water and sewer policy, also the telecom report, and they are coming in August 25th and 26th to do those changes. We also discussed a development agreement for Discovery Drive. Council also passed a DFA resolution requesting assistance from the province, of which we not have heard yet back from the province. And also, as a highlight, the Grand Point Clubhouse project was approved by council.
Thank you very much. Any comments, questions?
Not here.
None here.
Call for the question.
And we're on item number 3.
Item number 3.
Vote is carried 4-0.
Thank you very much. Moving on, 4 committee reports and minutes. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Mamchuk.
Thank you. Second.
Councilor Pelletier.
Councillor Clayton.
Oh, Councillor Pelletier takes it for the win. Go ahead, Mr. CEO.
Basically, we've received only committee report notes, meetings from the landfill committee dated of July 9th, as well as the emergency services committee meeting of July 9th. No other reported committees was submitted.
Thank you. I'll open it up. Council, anything to add? No, seeing none, I will call for the question.
Vote is carried 4-0.
Thank you. Moving on, 5.1, accounts paid to be approved. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Clayton.
Thank you. Second.
Councillor
Councillor
Mamchuk.
Councillor Mamchuk takes it for the win.
All right. So basically, there are 2 batches, batch 13989 in the amount of 347,000. Good chunk of that was the remainder of the fire truck that has been purchased and delivered to the RM for $156,900. The other batch is 14027 in the amount of 280,850. And again, there, a big chunk of that was an invoice from the Manitoba Water Services Board in the amount of 262,000 regarding the pipeline twinning and well mechanism projects that we have on the go right now.
Perfect. Any comments or questions from council?
Not from here.
Okay, please cast your vote. It looks like we lost Councillor Clayton.
Is he frozen?
Mr. CEO, do you have all the votes?
I do not, but I have enough to say that it is carried.
Okay. Councillor Clayton, are you there? Okay, well, I guess we'll continue. We have quorum. We'll hopefully Councillor Clayton gets back on. We were at 5.2, accounts not paid to be approved. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Mamchuk.
Thank you. Second.
Pelletier.
Thank you.
All right. Again, we've got a big batch in 14056 in the amount of $701,712. Going through that list, basically, that's all due to normal business summer operations in the RM. gravel programs, signs, et cetera, et cetera. So went through the 42-page report and nothing really stood out. And then we also have 2 other smaller batches for tax refunds and utility refunds.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council?
Not from here.
Not at this time.
Okay, I'll call for the question. Cast your vote. While we're voting, Councillor Clayton, are you with us again? Councillor Clayton is not with us. Dominic, I know you're in the background there. Do you mind giving him a call just to make sure that he's not having any technical difficulties, which I'm sure that's what's happening?
Sure, no problem.
Thank you.
Again, we have quorum and therefore 3-0 is a carried vote.
Okay, we'll continue on, even though Councillor Clayton's children are using Netflix too much at this time. We will go on to 5.2.1, council indemnities. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Mamchuk.
Second.
Councillor Pelletier.
Thank you.
Council all have their reports submitted. Very quiet month of July, I believe. No issues with what is being reported.
Questions from council?
Not from here.
No.
Okay, call for the question.
Councillor Clayton just got booted out from his internet, so he's just trying to get it back up and started. So.
Okay, thank you.
In the meantime, the vote is carried 3-0.
Thank you. Moving on, 5.3 payroll to be approved. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Mamchuk.
Second.
Councillor Pelletier.
Thank you.
We have payroll 15 for the employees. A little bit of bank time for our rec delivery person in Liam because very busy during July delivering the rec programs. Other than that, everything looks pretty good as far as payroll goes. And then also the fire department, the second quarter for their payroll has been submitted by the fire chief and approved. So no questions as well regarding that matter.
Perfect. Any questions or comments from council?
Not from here.
None here.
Seeing none, I'll call for the question.
Vote is carried 3-0.
Thank you. Moving on, jumping over to 7.1, bylaw 5/2020 ZA1-2020-6068503 Manitoba LTD, rezone parcel A of plan 59317 from AL to CH, first reading. And shorten that up, Mitch.
Unfortunately, no.
Do I have a mover?
Councillor Mamchuk.
Thank you. Second.
Councillor Pelletier.
Thank you.
All righty, folks. So this is a property along Highway 75, not too far from the former Frontier dealership to the north. It is all part of our rezoning process and development plan regarding those few businesses along the highway. This is, I believe, is the last one left to be rezoned in a proper fashion from AL to CH commercial highway. So they've gone through the subdivision process. They've gone through the development plan amendment, and now they're doing the rezoning as their next step. So after this, I believe everything should be up and up.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council?
Not from here.
Okay, thank you. I will call for the question. My voting is not open.
Maybe. That is correct. My apologies. Let me do a few here as I catch up. Let's try this again. Please go ahead. That vote is carried 3-0.
Thank you. Moving on, 7.2 bylaw 7-2020, housekeeping amendments to zoning bylaw 9-2019, first reading. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Mamchuk,
Second.
Damn, I was muted, sorry. Councillor Pelletier.
Thank you very much. Councillor Clayton is back with us. Your internet is working better than ever.
Yeah.
Kick
A
the kids
quick
off
run to my router, and I guess I fixed something, but yeah.
Good. Okay, we're just so you know, Councillor Clayton, we're on 7.2.
Okay, so 7.2, the public notice was given out. It summarizes all the little housekeeping items that we are looking at cleaning up in our zoning bylaw. All of these were discussed at the planning meeting, and the bylaw for first reading is well done. It illustrates every little category and circled with the proposed changes as to what they are. Very good job by our planning person in showing the illustrations. So I would recommend first reading at this time.
Perfect. Any comments from council?
no, it looks good.
Okay, I will call for the question. If I can see this here.
Great to see Councillor Clayton back in the vote of things, carried 4-0.
Perfect, thank you. 7.3 bylaw 6-2020 St. Agatha CDI loan, first reading. Do I have a mover?
Councillor
Councillor
Mamchuk,
Clayton.
Seconded by Councillor Clayton. Thank you very much.
Similar to a bylaw that was passed at the last council meeting regarding the advancing funds to the John Q for a fiber optic project. Very similar in this situation. The amount is $150,000 at a 2.5% return over a 5-year period. The loan is being made to the St. Agatha CDI, and the bylaw and the agreements are the same in nature, whereby if the St. Agatha CDI defaults, then Valley Fiber will be paying those payments. The whole purpose is to have some capital money up front, be able to start the project and move forward as the signups occur and the money starts coming in. Valley Fiber would reimburse the CDI would then reimburse the municipality.
Perfect, thank you. I'll open up for discussion with council. I firstly want to say I think it's a great opportunity. I'm glad that St. Agat's has been their door knocked at, so that's great. And I look forward to seeing better internet, no matter who or what or where or how it comes.
Nope, I agree, Mr. Mayor. And you know, I think the deal that we're looking at right now is much different than the one that the St. Agat's CDI, you know, had worked on a while back, where actually the community was going to be paying $150,000, you know, to have that service come in. Now we're in a position, now they are in a position where it's a $150,000 repayable loan for that infrastructure. So I think that's where we need to be.
Absolutely. Any other comments from council?
No, great
I think
work by the local CDI there.
I think it's great. Wish you all the best.
Perfect. Okay, I'll call for the question.
I'm missing Councillor Manchuk's vote, but I will move
Okay,
3-0.
just hang on. You should have it now.
Thank
You
you.
got it now?
4-0.
Thank you. Moving on. 8.1.1 4165-18-7752 Alan Hebert revised application 721 Main Street IDC. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Mamchuk?
Thank you. Second.
Councillor Pilch,
Thank you.
remember that mute button.
Okay, currently the subdivision that is in place is for a 23 unit condo commercial building, and wishing to revert back to the original intention of a 2-lot subdivision. This is more to do with all the buildings and the interior walls having to meet certain fire codes if they are condos versus just all rental units. So that is the main purpose of the reapplication, to downsize it from a 23 to 2-lot development.
So this is, sorry, thank you. So this is no longer condo ownership. This is just strictly rentals with no condo ownerships for the, I guess they're tenants now. They're not going to be purchasers, right? I missed this in the planning meeting because my phone cut out, so.
Yeah, basically where the 23 buildings or 23 units are, that will be 1 lot, and the original building to the east, the older building, will be on the other lot.
Okay, so it's just gone from purchasing to rental.
Correct.
Okay. Any questions from council?
Question for staff. Will we be revising the development agreement for both properties together?
The resolution does read that the applicant shall enter into a development agreement with the RMA Richot. So I believe we already have one for lot 1, and this would be a second one for lot 2. Is the intent to have one for the whole land base?
I would like to see one that incorporates both. We need to include no parking on the street on this one, because we've already got a semi parking on Main Street facing the wrong way for about a week now. So if we can get that added to the development agreement, that all parking needs to be on the lot.
No parking on Main Street or North Link Road?
No. Or
Okay.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else to add? I guess they can work that out in the development agreement, correct?
Correct, and we do have it as a clause of the subdivision approval. So
Perfect.
we'll work with the development agreement, include the parking and anything else that council may deem of interest.
Perfect. Thank you. Anything else from council? I'll call
Not
for,
from here.
thank you. I'll call for the question.
That vote is carried 4-0.
Thank you. 8.1.2, 4165-20-7919, Moyes/Blanick, 2480 Halima Drive. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Mamchuk.
Councillor
Thank you. Second.
Pilson.
Thank you.
As discussed at the planning meeting, this is basically a property in the Grand Point area that wishes to subdivide the lands on the west side of the tracks versus where the house and residual land is on the east side of the tracks. Basically, planning, we do not see any problems with this as long as the applicant pays the capital development fee for the newly created lot.
Okay, I'll open up for discussion with council. Council, do you have any questions?
That seems straightforward.
Yeah, none here either.
Is council concerned about turning this into a development opportunity? I know that we kind of hold strong on certain situations, going from agricultural, separating it from a homestead, et cetera, because we just don't want to lose any more ag land if we don't have to. So I'm just curious about that. Again, I missed this one at planning. My phone did some wonky stuff.
This one's kind of like just a homestead property already. They're just splitting it off of the rest of the lot. And there's the railway right away in between the two sections of land, so it fits just
And I
fine.
don't believe, and for council's clarifications, I don't believe that there's going to be any concern with development. The train tracks act as a dike for the Grand Point community, so anything on the outside to the west is basically floodable land. And therefore, if any development goes there, they would have to construct a dike and all that good stuff that goes with the development. So I just don't see that in the near future.
No, that's good to know. I appreciate that. Okay, thank you. Any other discussion?
It's fine here.
Okay, I'll call for the question.
The vote is carried 4-0. And if your worship allows me a couple minutes just to open up a few more items to vote on the agenda, please.
Okay, we'll take a 2-minute break. Thank you.
No, sounds good.
Okay, I am good to go. Oh, maybe not. We will wait.
We're on a little council break here.
Not sure what you did with your router, Curtis, but your connection looks better since you came
Yeah.
back.
Way
I
better.
plugged it in. I plugged it in.
They're almost like a computer where sometimes it just needs a unplug because it does carry some RAM in them.
Yeah, it's I think it's a bit of a combination of poor bandwidth, but also I think it's time for another router too. We've been unplugging it and plugging it in way too often. I think it's just time for replacement.
Okay, I'm back.
Curtis, we could talk after.
Yes, sorry, I know, Mr. Council.
No, I had the
Thank
same
you.
problem. We could talk after.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Okay,
Oh,
we're
makes sense.
back.
Sorry, continue. We'll continue to 8.2.1 Grand Point Meadows Phase 1 Infrastructure Letter of Credit Partial Release. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Pelletier.
Second.
Councillor Clayton.
All right, as discussed at the last Public Works meeting, things are moving along quite well at the Grand Point Meadows. Public Works has done their inspections and recommendation that they release almost $520,000 from the letter of credit, but also retain a balance of 242 for any future phase 1 remedial repairs or works to be done. So based on our Public Works Manager's recommendations, I would follow suit and recommend council to approve the resolution.
Perfect. Any comments or questions from council?
Not here.
Not here.
Okay, I'll call for the question.
Sorry, I keep looking at you guys expecting you to raise your hands, but that's okay.
You want us to?
No, that's fine. The vote is carried 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you. 8.2.2 IDC Lagoon Relocation Study Proposal. Do I have a mover?
Councillor
Councillor
Pelletier.
Clayton.
Thank you. Second.
Councillor
Councillor
Mamchuk.
Clayton.
Yeah, this is good. Councillor Mamchuk takes it.
Okay,
Well, it's all about timing.
oftentimes, what we need are shovel-ready projects. So whenever there's funding announcements being made that we do have projects ready to go. This has been ongoing for a while, trying to figure out what we're going to do with the landfill, the lagoon, expansions, communities keep getting bigger and bigger. So there is a proposal from WSP that we will entertain to hire them to do the study, and part of the study will be recovered through the water services program, but if there's other funding opportunities that would arrive, strongly make the recommendation to apply for those programs as well, and maybe get a third sharing versus a 50-50 sharing. What we need those projects ready for shovel.
Thank you. I'll open it up to the floor. Any questions from council? Okay, I'll call for the question.
The vote is carried 4-0.
Thank you. Moving on, 8.2.4, application for indemnification crosswalk enhancements. Do I have a mover?
Sorry, we're 8.2.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. 8.2.3, water services infrastructure projects. Do I have a mover?
Councilor Mamchuk,
Second.
Councillor Clayton.
Councillor Clayton, thank you.
Again, more of these shovel-ready programs discussed at the July 30th Public Works meeting. This is more in regards to looking at cost sharing again on well mechanisms, and if there's a twinning of the force main to be done in the Santa Gath area, that we request technical and financial assistance from water services.
Thank you. Any questions, comments from council? Seeing none, I'll call for the question.
I don't have Councillor Mamchuk's vote, but it is carried 3-0.
Thank you
I
very
vote.
much. Okay, moving on, 8.2.4, application for indemnification crosswalk enhancements. Do I have a mover?
Councilor Mamchuk,
Councillor Clayton.
Thank you. Second by Councillor Clayton. Go ahead.
Pretty much straightforward. Whenever we want to do improvements or go across or under any road infrastructure that belongs to the province, and in this case it does, it's PR 305 in the Santa Gath area, they always want to have themselves indemnified, sign an agreement, and ensure that it's also listed on our insurance policy. So this is just a standard resolution to allow us to do that, to sign off and make that happen. I believe this is a project that is near and dear to Councillor Clayton's heart in the Santa Gath area.
Perfect. I'll open up for discussion on council.
So is this specific for the crosswalk at 305 or just overall for all of them?
A very good point, Councillor Clayton. I was reading the way they had written the agreements, and it sounds like it's for any crosswalk, but I'm trying to think of any other areas where we would have a crosswalk on a PR or PTH, but nothing comes to mind. But that doesn't prevent us from putting one on Highway 75 now if we have this indemnity. But I'm just kidding. Of course, we would look at asking for permission again. I believe this one would be just for PR 305.
Very good.
Actually, the way it's worded, it looks like it's a policy change to give you authorization to sign on our behalf, which I'm okay with as well. We might see another one for Ile des Chênes because Dumaine is still part of highways. So if we want to put another crosswalk there, we would need another application.
That is correct.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, I'll call for the question. Cast your vote.
what the hell? Hang on here. Hang on for a second here.
The vote is carried 4-0.
Thank you. Moving on, 8.3.1, 2020 tax sale adjournment. Do I have a mover?
Counselor Mamchuk,
Thank you. Second.
Councillor Clayton.
Thank you.
The province basically announced today their plan of trying to reopen with the schools, with the daycares, trying to live life with the new normal, as the term is coined. So everything else is kind of following suit. We had suspended our tax sale process because of COVID-19, but now it appears to be time to try to move forward in the new normal. So the recommendation to council is to proceed with the tax sale. Anything that is of 2018 outstanding taxes, to continue the process, and that the tax sale date that we had scheduled for September 23rd be pushed back to March 24th of 2021. So that will be what staff will be working on with tax service, our collection agency, for this, and hopefully collect all 2018 outstanding taxes.
Thank you. Any discussion from council?
We have
Not from
any
here.
numbers on how many people this is currently?
We had discussed that just prior to the meeting. We did not have a number, but estimates, I think last time was around 16 properties. But I could double check and send council an email right after this meeting.
Yeah, my only concern is just pushing it back 6 months is just going to add dollars to their problems. That's my only concern with pushing this back out.
Are you suggesting making it earlier, Councillor Pelletier?
I don't know what I'm suggesting because I don't know what the numbers are, like how much it is. So I don't really have anything to offer right now as far as a solution.
Mr. CEO, would you like me to jump in a little bit?
Go ahead, Dominic.
So we have about 11 properties. So the reason we actually put it on pause was because of the province. We actually had to put it on pause. And so they actually can't start working until September. So we actually had 6 months where no fees were added to the property. So it's like as if we're just starting from where we were back in March or April when we put a pause. So if they do incur more costs from, let's say, now until March, those would have been costs that they might have incurred anyways during the regular period. So they've actually had 6 months to hopefully try to catch up on their properties. But if not, then we're essentially just pushing a continue button, and we're now going to continue the process. And like I said, if they do get costs, it's possible they would have got it already during the regular time.
Awesome. Thanks, Dominic.
Well said. Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, perfect. Any other discussion? Okay, I'll call for the question. Cast your vote.
Vote is carried 4-0.
Thank you. Moving on, 8.3.2 AMBM funding approval. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Clayton.
Second.
Councillor Pelletier.
Thank you. I said that in the most Anglophone way. So Mr. CEO, please take it away.
Thank you. This is a yearly resolution that we should be passing. We always receive a contribution from the IMBM for the Organization for French Services. That check has already been provided. We just need to give them their supporting documentation, and that is a form of a resolution of thank you and support.
Thank you. Any questions from council? Okay, I'll call for the question.
Vote is carried 4-0.
Thank you. 8.3.3, health and safety policies. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Manchuk,
Second.
Councillor Pelletier.
Thank you.
Under the scope of this one resolution, we have two policies. The first one is the health pandemic planning. This was forwarded to me by our facilities manager, Mr. George Helmniuk. This is basically a policy that was received from the Health and Safety Committee, reviewed by them. It's basically structuring the protocol that, and I hate to use the words not if, but when somebody does come down with COVID-19, as to how the office and Public Works will react to the situation. I know we've had a couple people that have gone for testing. Unfortunately, they were found negative. But what happens if we do have that positive case, and how we handle that situation internally? Part of that policy also provides for a tracking sheet, very simple but yet useful tool to keep track of your whereabouts, because more than likely Manitoba Health will want to know where your whereabouts were for the past 2 weeks. And if you're like me, I have no clue what I did last Sunday. So by having this tracking sheet, it may jog a few memories as you go along. The second policy is regarding the needles and sharps. And you have a copy of that for your review as well. Approved by the Health and Safety Committee. This comes as a result of somebody finding a needle on one of our public playgrounds, and we had really no policy to deal with the disposals of these items. So policy has been created. So my recommendation to council is to adopt these, and we will take the precautions we need to carry these out.
Thank
I
you.
think
Any
it's a good
questions?
idea.
Yes, absolutely. Any other comments from council?
Just a quick one. Where are we, or the province, with the adoption of the COVID alert app that the federal government has put out? It's still relatively new. I think it's only been out for about a week or a little bit more, but I know it passed privacy legislation in Ontario.
I think there was something on you today, Curtis.
I downloaded it, and it works good on my phone, but might be something that we want to look at. Maybe not for this second, but down the road.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything from the provincial government, this province government, as far as that app goes, if they made a recommendation to download it or not. I think for tracking purposes, it would likely help for sure. Right now, I'm using my little cheat sheet, and that's good for me, but
For sure.
something to maybe investigate and report back at the next council meeting.
Yeah, I mean, I think the app would only really work if everyone is using it. You know, 1 or 2 people use it, it's really of no value.
Correct.
Thank you.
Good comments, thank you. Anything else? Call for the question.
Vote is carried 4-0.
Thank you. 8.3.4, proposed revision to notices policy 3.4. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Pelletier.
Councillor Clade.
Pelletier moves, seconded by Councillor Clayton.
To summarize, the Planning Act requires only 100 meters notice, and that may be insufficient when dealing with rural areas. The recommendation and the policy would be that for rural areas, we would go to 300 meters instead of 100 meters. We would still continue for properties within an urban setting, and those are listed on a map, Schedule A. Those would be 100 meters, and then we would continue to post on our municipal website, on the office bulletin board, and then use our discretion when it comes to putting other notices out, such on Connect, and that would be to the discretion of the administration. Where the legislation requires other notices to be done, we must adhere to that as well. But this is just internal policies when it comes to rural areas that we will expand our notification list.
Perfect, thank you. Any comments from council? No?
Fine, fine by me.
Perfect. I'll call for the question.
Vote is carried 4-0.
Thank you. 8.3.5, payment on behalf of municipal facilities policy. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Mamchuk,
Councillor Clayton.
Thank you. Councillor Clayton seconds it.
Okay, my apologies. Okay, so this is a policy. I know this, that oftentimes community groups have fairly big projects, big dollar projects, big dollar enhancements. As most of these are all on municipal property or municipal facilities, these community groups may not necessarily qualify to recapture the GST, and that's 5% of the costs. By running the accounting through the administration office, we're able to save that 5% for the community groups. We've laid out a structure as far as number one, definitely the project needs to be approved by council for it to qualify for the GST rebate. And then there's also some other internal procedures as to signing off from the bills from the community groups to us, and us reporting, I believe, on a monthly basis as to where the project is at as far as costs. I think in the long run, it will save a lot of dollars for our communities and our volunteers who try to make their areas more pleasant for their ratepayers.
Thank you very much. Any comments from council?
Just more good work by the rec committee on this one.
Perfect. Okay, I'll call for the question.
It's carried 4-0.
Thank you. Where are we here? 8.3.5.1, July 2020 building permit reports. Do I have a mover?
Councillor
Councillor
Mamchuk,
Clayton.
Second by Councillor Clayton. Thank you.
Council has a copy of the building report summary for the month of July. 26 permits, $2 million worth of estimated value, with fees coming in at $6,800, bringing our total to 123 permits, $21.7 million in worth, and $63,000 in permit fees. Well ahead of 2019 as of this July period.
Yeah, it's incredible, really. I'm just looking at all the numbers here, and it's all over, from small little decks all the way to $2 million in commercial and grant. Like, it's all over the place. So that's great to see the economy is still continuing after what's going on, especially here in Red Shot. It's great news for our ratepayers. And it's very balanced. I want to add that it's very balanced. It's not all of just residential, but it's just all over the place. So that's great.
On a side note, things might slow down in August because apparently there's a lumber shortage and lumber prices are going up. So people may want to either hold or continue with their projects, but that's what the news had last night to report.
Well, thanks for bringing my high way down there, Debbie Downer. Okay, I'll call for the question.
That is carried 4-0.
Thank you. 8.3.6, waiving utility fees due to COVID-19. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Clayton.
Councilor Mamchuk.
Thank you. Councillor Mamchuk seconds it.
Excuse me.
When the pandemic first hit, this was brought to council's attention, and council decided to waive the interest penalties on water bills. This resolution was prepared last week prior to the announcement of today's announcement by the province, wanting to try to get back to normal and getting back to the same as before. So I don't know if council wants to extend the period for another water meter reading quarter or not. I will leave that up to council. Again, this was based on the situation we were in last week without the provincial announcement coming today.
Yeah, I'll open it to the floor first. I'll just say my piece. I think why not extend it? It's not something we rely on currently and want to make money off of. We want people to pay their bills right away, yes, but it's not a necessity at this time that we charge utility extra charges. Council?
I don't think we're talking about a lot of revenue here. Could you give an estimate roughly what it'd be? A couple $100 maybe, or more?
I don't have those figures in front of me, but I do know that it is utility, so it is driven by the utility rates on your water bills, okay? So at the end of the day, if council deems to waive the penalties for another quarter, those rates will be reassessed if you run a deficit. And part of that deficit could be as a reason because you waived the fees for 2 quarters. And if you haven't had done that, the rates would have been sufficient moving forward. So I really don't see a problem with waiving them for another quarter. I think people are still doing fairly well in the area and paying their bills as scheduled.
Any other thoughts from council?
Did we see many ratepayers taking advantage of this last quarter? Do we have that?
I will ask my assistant to chime in. We had that discussion as well prior to council. Not sure if she had a chance to talk to our utility clerk regarding people coming in to pay or not.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have a clear answer on that. We don't quite know yet if it's had a big impact or not.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I will call for the question.
That is carried 4-0.
Thank you. 8.3.7 stars request for funding. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Clayton.
Second.
Councillor Pelletier.
Thank you.
There was an email that was sent to my attention. I forwarded to council for discussion. In the resolution, I've left the amount blank. This is a fundraiser for the STARS ambulance medical system. I believe very important to safe services in our area. I would support council making a contribution. What that contribution would be, I'll leave that up to the guys that have the power to vote.
I'll open it up. I'm just curious. Do we regularly give them something? I know we discuss this every year, but we have a gala normally. Councillor Mamchuk, I believe, is the one that attends.
Yeah, we went, there was one last year, but there was nothing this year yet because of the coronavirus, I guess. I went to the one the year before, and it was really interesting, what you call it, fundraiser, especially when they have survivors in making a presentation and stress that if it wasn't for STARS, they wouldn't be around. That really hits home.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I'm a big supporter of STARS, and I hope the fellow councillors and mayor can agree with that. I don't know what the amount is, what we can give, but I don't think there's going to be any type of galas as far as I know. And
So
hopefully I may be wrong, but I think that's what's taking place of this thing.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's kind of where I was leading. So, Mr. CEO or Assistant CEO, do you know how many times STARS has responded to a Rich Shot incident in the last year?
Off the top of my head, no. Those stats are available through our fire department. Every quarter, he does present all the incidents that has happened. And to be honest, I don't remember the last time STARS came out, and it's not something that you want to see. But if needed, they are more than willing to be there.
Well, I think I can recall one on Highway 75 and then one on 59.
Yeah, I've just, I don't want to, yeah. You know, I'm going to throw a number out there, and I guess I'm feeling very generous tonight. I am proposing $10,000.
Man, I can kiss your toes right now.
I know that, Ron, you probably hear and see it firsthand because you're the one that goes to the galas, but I do know that operating a helicopter is not a cheap endeavor, and I know that when they are needed in Rich Shot, they probably, or they will be here. But again, I guess I'm just feeling generous because I think council knows me not to be this generous most nights, so.
It's for a good cause, and I hope we never have to use it, but at least we know we're participating, and I think that's great.
I was expecting one last zero.
If I could chime in the first 6 months of the 2020, we had 3 STARS calls.
Yeah, I think that kind of answers the question I was looking for. So I'm going to stick with 10,000.
I should know this, but I don't. Does STARS run solely on private donations?
Well,
for the most part, do they?
Curtis, sorry to jump in. They get X number of dollars from the provincial government, and I can't remember what the basic is. And after that, they have to raise just as much, if not more. So if the government gives $1 million, they have to raise $1 million.
So yeah, so basically without private donations, they can't function.
Well, no, that's what they depend upon private donations. Like a lot of companies are the ones that keep them afloat, apparently.
Well, I'm on board with the mayor's recommendation.
Thank you,
If I could just chime in too, the last time I checked on this island rescue, the most that I had seen another municipality donate was 1,000.
Well, I think that's Well, I added that extra zero. I am feeling really generous, so I think it's the right thing to do. Councillor Pelletier, what do you think? You're on mute there, buddy.
Muted.
Still on mute.
You're still on mute.
Hey, you're green.
Hello, testing, 1, 2, 3.
What are your thoughts?
Their goal for the rescue on the island is 50 grand. I would agree with your dollar value. They bring a lot of value to the RM. I've seen them parked on Old 59 just by Ile des Chaines when the guy flipped his side by side. Yeah, I'm all good for that amount.
Perfect. So do we cast our vote recommending 10,000? Mr. CEO?
Sure.
The
Okay.
resolution will read that a donation in the amount of 10,000 in order to search Sarah from the island.
Perfect. That's a great resolution. Okay, cast your vote, please.
Resolution is carried 4-0.
Thank you very much. Leaving on a good note, I think that's everything for the night. I will move to adjournment. Do I have a mover?
Oh, mostly Councilor Mamchik, I guess.
Thank you. Second?
Councillor Clayton.
Perfect. I will call for the question.
The vote is carried 4-0.
Thank you very much. I adjourn the meeting at 7:18 p.m. Please stop recording.